Well, hello, and a little story today about our recent trip Ali and I took to Coed in North Wales. It's not actually pronounced Coed, it's Coed. But I thought I'd take the opportunity to try the Insta360 One X as a vlogging camera and to get some B-roll and just put it through its paces. My first experiment with the camera, so that's coming up next. One of the features of the Insta360 One X is a thing called bullet time, which I think was taken from the film The Matrix, and it's a great effect whereby it appears that the camera is floating around you in space, a little bit like a drone flying around you. It's in slow motion, it's stabilized, and it's very stylish and stylistic and stylized. I don't know which of those words applies the most, but the thing is, perhaps it goes a little bit too far in that direction, because when you see footage of somebody using the Insta360 One X in bullet time, it screams out what type of camera you've used, possibly even down to the point of it being obviously it's Insta360. So I'm not sure you'd use it on a regular basis in your YouTube videos, but having played with it for a day or two, I'm now beginning to see that it goes a little bit beyond being just a gimmick. There are actually things you can do with the bullet time feature that would be practical and helpful to use in some of your videos. One of them, for instance, in this very room we're in now, it's the hotel room we're in the Royal Oak Hotel in Betws, Coed, which most of my friends pronounce as Coed. In the room, I was able to swing the camera around above my head, get a bullet time capture, and for instance with that one, it allows me to show the room in its entirety, the fact I'm standing in the centre of the room, rather than the feature or the focus rather of the video being me, although I am standing in the middle of it, I have to be. It also allows me to show the entirety of the room in one shot. If I stood there with my Canon G7X, my Canon G7, and I haven't even got a Canon G7, with my Panasonic Lumix G7 I came across from the Canon G7X. If I stood there with my Panasonic Lumix G7 or my Note 9 phone, for instance, and then turned round in a circle full 360 degrees several times, yes, I could capture footage which would show the entire room, but of course it wouldn't be stabilized and it wouldn't have that nice slow-mo effect. Well, I suppose I could put slow-mo in post-production, but it wouldn't be stabilized, and even if you used a stabilization feature in your software, it wouldn't do quite as neat a job, I don't think, as I think it's called InstaFlow stabilization on the Insta360 One X. So I can already see a feature there. Also, I'm thinking about when I go to the waterfalls, probably tomorrow, because the rain today has put me off going there today. When I go to the waterfalls by us in Coed, it would be nice to get some shots which again happen to feature me in the centre, but in fact are showing the surroundings that I'm in, and we'll try that out tomorrow and see what the footage is like. So catch up with you again a little bit later on. So yes, I changed my mind about the bullet time. I think I will find myself occasionally using it, particularly if you're somewhere rather scenic or an interesting visual surrounding. The downside to it, I guess, is that you do always end up standing in your shots with your hand up in the air, and you have to strike a pose like a demented rock star. But it's probably worth it in the end, and you do get some nice shots. I like it. I'll be using it. There are times when I want to be able to film subtly, is a way I'd like to put it. Secretly might be another one. It's just that sometimes people don't like having cameras in their faces, and you may be, for instance, in a restaurant and you want to get a touch of the ambience of the restaurant, perhaps just seeing other diners in the background eating. I'm not sticking a camera into their faces, but obviously they do appear in the background in the restaurant, or staff may be waiting on tables and moving past your table. So the nice thing with the Insta360 is, because of the way it's designed, it doesn't really look like a camera, and I can place that down on the table. It's not obvious to people. It could be a microphone, it could be a mobile phone. People don't really seem to know what it is. So I took a couple of shots when I was able to walk into the restaurant section of the Royal Oak to place our order, and I can carry the camera with it face down. It's still, because it films in 360 degrees, it doesn't have to be pointed at anybody. It can just be held loosely by my side. I had my credit card in my hand, and holding the camera with the other hand, and secretly the camera was on. I was able to film in there without alerting or distressing anybody, and get a few shots, just of sort of background atmospheric shots inside the restaurant without attracting undue attention. So that could be something I might find useful in the future. Wish me luck. I am. We'll see how we handle the dark inside the pub as well. It's very gloomy in here. Trying the HDR. Trying out the HDR. Hi, I can order food and drink, please. At table 136. I'd have a baked potato with chilli and the crofter sandwich thing. White or brown? Brown, please. A pint of Diet Coke, no ice. And a fresh orange juice, please. Of course, the invisible selfie stick gives you the ability to do things like get interesting angles on shots, like this shot of Ali and I eating our lunch, filmed from above. The camera wasn't a cameraman leaning out of a window upstairs, filming down from above. We were actually just by a plain wall, but just by holding the stick upright, I was able to get an interesting shot from above, so you can get angles you wouldn't normally get. Also, it'd be great for very low angles, so you could be walking along and holding the extending selfie stick, like a cane, for instance, and holding it just above the ground. And the stabilisation on the Insta360 is brilliant. It really is very, very good. So you can get some very interesting shots with it. Again, yeah, proving itself to be very versatile. I'm not sure if it shows up in these shots, but at the moment I have an injured foot and therefore I have a medical boot on my foot, and because of that and my balance not being very good, I wasn't able to scramble across the rocks to get close to the river. Ali was able to get across there and sat down by the river. I was able to get some nice slow motion shots, and using the selfie stick, which of course becomes invisible, you can get some nice effects. Well, something my dear old mum used to say was I eat my food far too quickly, and she probably would have been horrified if she'd seen this next little clip. It's just using the time-lapse facility on the Insta360. With one shot I was able to get a shot both of me eating my dinner rather fast, Alison, my wife, Ali, eating her dinner rather quickly, and then also I was able to get a shot from above as well of us. So using the invisible selfie stick. So altogether very versatile. Got some shots that would have been difficult to get otherwise without the Insta360 One X. For a while now I've been wanting to do time lapses, which I can do with the likes of my G7 or my Galaxy Note 9 for that matter. However, I noticed a company called Edelkrone have a kind of slider arrangement or a motorised head where you can have the time lapse being filmed, and whilst it's being filmed the camera can pan slowly from one side of the shot to another, or up and down, whichever. And the nice thing with the Insta360 One X, if you film a time lapse with it, you can in post-production achieve that same panning effect, and it's almost as good as having the Edelkrone system with my good camera with my Lumix on there. So I'm very pleased with that as well. A very versatile little tool this camera's proving to be. I thought I'd try the camera out for its audio and to see whether it could be used potentially on its own as a vlogging camera, and I'm pleased to say that I think it could be. It's good enough. It's not going to be up to the same quality as my microphone on my Movo microphone that is on my Lumix G7. It's not going to go up to that quality, but certainly in an emergency, if that was the only camera you had with you, it's good enough audio. If the background noise isn't too high and you're not in too windy a place, the audio is good enough. You can use it for vlogging. Here's a little clip I did again outside the Royal Oak in Betws, Coed, and it just goes to show that you could actually do a piece to camera quite easily and get a good, reasonably good quality video. Well, I've been trying the Insta360 One X here in Betws, Coed over the past few days, and apart from a few issues with batteries dying quite frequently, luckily I got spare batteries. The One X has performed admirably. I've been extremely happy with it. Well, there we go. It just goes to prove what I was saying is worth listening to, because the battery's just gone on my Panasonic Lumix G7 just at the end of doing the filming for this. And of course I had the Insta360 One X sat on the table while I was talking about it, so I've been able to switch over to the Insta360. So this is actually vlogging now with both the picture and the audio coming from the Insta360, and as you can see the quality, it's not as good as the G7, but hey, it's not bad. And on the other side of the camera, around behind, facing me, or I'm facing it, is a table plant. So for instance, if I was talking about the table plants without moving the camera, I could have the camera now swivel round, look at the plant, or look into our beautiful garden as far as I'm concerned, and then come on back to me. The camera comes back to me again, and I can carry on talking. So I've got a lot of versatility with this. We could have the camera point in any direction whatsoever that I want. So a very useful tool, I think, as a vlogging tool, the Insta360 One X. Buy it, I love it. Great. Thank you ever so much for watching the video. You'll notice on screen there's a subscribe button, which if you'd like to subscribe, please feel free to press that one. And also 2 other videos I recommend that you might want to watch. One is about my new Surui 3T-35R desktop tripod, which I highly recommend. And the other one is about how to make thumbnails for your videos for free in Canva. Thanks again. Bye bye.